The annual Miller family gathering at La Maison d'A was in full swing, and my sister Victoria was in her element, commanding the room like the social director she always believed she was. I lingered near the kitchen, watching her arrange everyone like pieces on a chessboard. "James, darling, next to Mother, of course," she cooed, ushering our investment banker brother to the head of the table. "Theo's seat is just there. Seniority has its privileges," she added with a smug smile. "And Charlotte, you'll be beside Father. We must celebrate that Goldman Sachs partnership." Same script, different year. Then her eyes finally landed on me. Her designer glasses slid a notch down her nose as she frowned. "Oh, Emma, there you are. We're a bit tight on space at the main tables. Maybe you could sit over there." She waved vaguely toward the service area. "With the staff or whatever it is you do again. Personal shopping." That was the story I let them believe. Personal shopper. A tidy excuse for my globetrotting, erratic hours, and mysterious phone calls. Easier than explaining the truth, that I was the founder and CEO of HDG International, a $12 billion luxury hospitality empire with properties spanning 3 continents. "Of course, Victoria," I said smoothly, gliding toward the staff tables in my sleek, custom black dress, a one-of-a-kind piece from a designer I owned. Among the server uniforms, I was an anomaly, but Victoria didn't notice. She was too busy gushing about James's promotion. I slipped into a corner table near the kitchen, watching the restaurant staff glide through their routines with silent precision. None of them knew that the woman seated among them owned this restaurant and the entire Lumion chain. "Miss Harrison!" Marcel, the restaurant manager, approached, flustered. He was new, transferred from our Paris branch just last month. "Your private table is ready. We didn't realize." "It's fine, Marcel," I interrupted gently. "Tonight I'm just Emma. Family dinner. Keep it discreet." He nodded, though his eyes darted nervously toward the opulent main table where Victoria was now bragging about her charity gala. The same gala she'd hosted at my hotel, without realizing it. My phone buzzed. A message from Sarah, my CFO. "Rivera Hotels acquisition complete. You now own every major luxury property in 3 new cities. Board meeting tomorrow." I smiled. Victoria loved to flaunt her Rivera Hotel stays on Instagram. She had no idea her little sister now owned those hotels. Across the room, Mother called out, "Emma, come say hello to everyone. We hardly see you these days. That little business of yours must be keeping you busy." I rose and walked toward the family table. James barely looked up. "Still doing the shopping thing?" he asked, dismissive. "There's an entry-level spot opening in my department." I almost laughed. His bank had tried, unsuccessfully, to finance my last acquisition. I found their terms arrogant, just like James. At that moment, Philippe Bernard, the restaurant's owner, entered. He stopped mid-step when he saw me. His face blanched. "Madam Harrison," he blurted before catching himself. I mean, madam. You know Emma." Victoria's eyes narrowed. Philippe stammered. She shops for some of our regulars." Victoria nodded smugly, satisfied with the explanation. "Of course. That makes sense. Right, Emma?" Before I could answer, the doors opened again. Marcus Chin, my COO, walked in, tablet in hand. "Boss, sorry to interrupt your dinner, but we need your signature on the Rivera merger. The Asian markets open in a few hours." He stopped, noticing the stunned faces. "Boss!" James echoed, his fork frozen midair. Mother's posture stiffened. Her instincts told her something didn't add up. Something major. Marcus continued, "Once you sign, HDG International will officially be the largest luxury hospitality group in Asia." Victoria's wine glass slipped from her fingers, red wine spreading across the white linen. Father spoke for the first time, his voice measured, intrigued. "HDG International. That's the company that just bought Rivera for $3 billion. I nodded, signing the tablet. "That's the one. You might also know us from the Lumion chain, or the Wellington Hotel Group, or perhaps the Grand Plaza Properties. James certainly does. His bank pitched financing for this deal." James looked stricken. "That was your company?" "And I'm its CEO," I said, handing the tablet back to Marcus. I turned to Philippe. "I believe there's been a seating mistake." Could you prepare my usual table? Philippe nearly tripped over himself. Of course, Madam Harrison. Victoria found her voice again, trembling. But you're a personal shopper. You drive a Honda. You live in. I own the building, I interrupted calmly. Along with most of the block. The Honda's for staying low profile. My driver and town car are outside if you'd prefer proof. Mother's eyes flicked between me and Marcus, recalculating her entire view of me. All those events you missed, she began. I was usually in Paris, or Dubai, or Tokyo, overseeing expansion. I smiled faintly, though I did make it to James's promotion party. I own the venue after all. Around us, staff quietly cleared the spilled wine, eyes downcast, but smiles threatening to break through. Shall we move to my table? I asked. We can discuss the Rivera acquisition over dinner. James, I'd love to walk you through why I rejected your bank's offer. The shift to my private table was more than a change of seating. It was a shift in power. Victoria, once the self-appointed queen of our family's social order, followed hesitantly behind. James, for once, had set his phone down, eyes flicking between curiosity and concern. Philippe, I said as we settled, bring out the 82 Bordeaux. And please let the chef know I'll have tonight's special menu. Philippe blinked. The fusion tasting menu, madam. The one we've been perfecting for 3 months. That's the one. It's time my family samples what their personal shopper has been developing. Mother adjusted her pearls, her old nervous tick from the country club days. Developing? You mean you're involved in the menu? Marcus, seated comfortably at my right, chuckled. Mrs. Miller, your daughter approves every menu innovation across HDG's global properties. The molecular gastronomy at Lumion. Her idea. Victoria scoffed. But you can't cook. Last Christmas, you brought store-bought cookies. I was acquiring the chain that makes them, I replied dryly. Our R&D team spent 6 months perfecting that recipe. Philippe returned with the wine, presenting it with more ceremony than usual. I noticed James and Victoria silently calculating its value, their past jabs about my budget lifestyle echoing back at them. I turned to James. About your bank's financing proposal, too aggressive. Much like that job offer you extended last month. James choked. That was for an entry-level role, which would have placed me 3 tiers below staff at companies I own, I said, sipping my wine. Though I appreciated the irony. Father cleared his throat. How? When did all of it happen? HDG's anonymity is deliberate, I said. I started small. A struggling boutique hotel. Then another. I turned them around while Victoria hosted galas at my properties and James bragged about his contacts, unaware they worked for me. The first course arrived, an edible sculpture of culinary brilliance. Mother stared at it like it might explain my existence. The Singapore property Victoria mentioned, I said casually. I bought it because she wouldn't stop bragging about staying there. She never noticed the upgrades, and VIP service came from her sister. Victoria turned crimson. All those questions about my trips. Market research, I confirmed. Though your complaints about the spa were helpful. It's being renovated next month. Marcus's tablet buzzed. Markets are opening, boss. Rivera hotel stock is already moving. James instinctively reached for his phone and stopped. You beat out every major group for Rivera. Press release drops at midnight, I said. Mother, you'll want to cancel your lunch at the plaza tomorrow. We're closing it for renovations. Her fork clattered. But I've been going there for 20 years. I know the owner. You knew the previous owner, I corrected. I signed the acquisition documents 10 minutes ago. The second course arrived. Beautiful. Precise. No one spoke as the staff moved in seamless rhythm, every gesture laced with quiet reverence. I'll need to leave shortly, I said, checking my phone. The Rivera announcement is going out from Tokyo. I turned to James. Your team's financial breakdown was solid, just not competitive. To Victoria. Next time you host a charity gala, have your assistant contact my office. We offer a generous family rate. A sleek Tesla Model S pulled into view through the restaurant's floor-to-ceiling windows, far from the modest Honda Civic they were used to. My driver, David, stepped out, immaculate in his uniform. One more thing, I said, rising. Victoria, About those charity events you're always promoting, the Children's Hospital Foundation? She nodded cautiously. I'm the anonymous donor funding their oncology wing. 4 or 5 years. Mother's composure shattered. That wing, that's millions. 200 million, Marcus said, glancing up. Though the boss prefers to keep that private. James was now frantically scrolling through headlines, trying to catch up. This will be bigger than any of the analysts predicted, he muttered. I turned to Father. You once told me to start small and learn the basics. I did. Then I bought the competitors. Then their suppliers. Their platforms. Their real estate. Philippe reappeared, leather portfolio in hand. Madam Harrison, the renovation blueprints for your signature rooftop garden are approved. Spectacular work. Victoria blanched. But I just booked my engagement party here. The rooftop's closed, I said. But I'll have my team move your event to the Paris location. It's lovely this time of year. With that, I headed toward the exit, designer heels tapping softly across the tile, every step the sound of an empire quietly built, and now unmistakably revealed. Complimentary upgrade, of course. Family discount. The irony of offering my sister a discount at my restaurant wasn't lost on anyone at the table. 4 years. She dangled her connections like gold threads, never realizing I was the one quietly weaving the entire tapestry. My phone buzzed again. Tokyo was waiting. The Asian markets don't pause, not for sentiment, not even for family reckonings. I reached into my purse and placed a black credit card on the table. Dinner's on me. As usual. You just never noticed. Mother's voice broke the silence. All those times you said you couldn't make our business dinners because you were working late at your little shopping job? I smiled, gesturing toward a secluded corner of the restaurant. I was often right there, finalizing deals bigger than this entire building. The shopping story was just easier, less threatening. The restaurant doors opened. David, my driver, stood at attention. Outside, camera flashes were already beginning. News of the Rivera acquisition was spreading fast. I paused before leaving. James, I said, turning back, about that entry-level role you offered. I'm actually hiring for several executive positions post-merger. Your bank's analysis was solid. Not your financing, but still, have your people call mine. That is, if you're comfortable reporting to your little sister. His face was a masterpiece, stunned, proud, and utterly shaken. Victoria still hadn't taken her eyes off the black card. Mother looked like she was mentally rewinding every conversation we'd ever had. Oh, and Victoria, I added, those store-bought cookies you laughed about last Christmas? They'll be in every luxury grocery chain by next month. I bought the recipe for 8 figures. Turns out, simplicity sells. Another lesson this family missed. With that, I turned and walked out of Loom Da, heels echoing softly against marble floors, leaving my family to digest something richer than the food, the truth. Tomorrow, headlines would celebrate HDG International's latest triumph. But tonight, I had achieved something far rarer, dismantling my family's oldest, most comfortable delusion that I was the least likely to succeed. David held the door open. Tokyo, Madam Harrison? Tokyo, I confirmed, sliding into the leather seat. Then paused. And David, make sure my family gets home safely in the backup car. Because that's what success looks like. Taking care of your own, even when they never took care of you.